Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday morning episode of the Church of Liberty. Today's October 10th, Sunday, October 10th, 2021. Got my all black on in honor of the latest reading I'm doing into the history of where I come from and where a lot of us come from in this country. Thanks to Chad down in Talachata Farms, I think is how you pronounce it, recommending the book The Albion's Seed, about the Great Migration from East Anglia to America in the, I think, 15th, 16th century, might be 16th, 17th century, 1600s, the start of the migration with, all black. The only part of the books that I've gotten through so far, I'm reading, I think the whole first book is on the, basically the Puritan culture in Massachusetts, and where they come from and what they believed in, and actually their clergymen, their high priest, call them what you will, they wore black instead of what we think of in modern times as white being the pure color. They wore all black. They were a faith of people who didn't believe in a lot of vibrant things. They had some very different views on a lot of different things. A lot of misconceptions. One of the big ones, in my opinion, is how big they were on sexual relations, and how much they talked about it and how big of a part of it their everyday life that was. They had some big taboos on what happened if he was caught fornicating and things like that, but sex was a major part of their culture, and just seems like one of those things that over time, different ways pick up different ways of doing things. Different people pick up different ways of doing things, and it's almost like I was raised to not talk about sex, which is completely wonkers when you think about it. Your job is to prepare the younger minds for what life's going to be like, real life's going to be like, and inevitably sex is going to be a part of that, whether they follow traditional paths of waiting until they're married, or whether they start experimenting younger in life, like most of them will. We got to talk to them about sex. And I'm not going to talk about today in the Church of Liberty. I'm not going to talk about any, I'm rambling, but I'm not going to talk about any scripture, any particular verses from the Bible. I know some of y'all may like that, but this Church of Liberty is not meant to be all about my religion, which is the Christian faith. I reference the Christian faith because I believe, like I've said before, that Jesus was a voluntarist, and what we mean by that word today. He believed in, all people being equal under the eyes of God, and all people could be saved through him. Or I shouldn't say he believed, he was the way. God sent his only begotten Son for us to die on the cross for our sins so that we could be saved and live in heaven. Whether you believe in that or not, what Jesus taught was, you be good to people. You do the right thing all the time, and good things will happen to you in your life. So I really wanted to state today, that's why I use Jesus a lot, and that's why I use verses from the Bible. I don't mean to preach. I don't mean to come off as knowing that I know the proper way of deciphering things from the past, because I do not. I'm just doing what I think we all need to do in a time like right now, is speak my mind. And so I wanted to clarify what the Church of Liberty was all about today. So start off real simple with definitions of these words. Church. The definition that I come up with for church was a body of organizations of religious believers. And I think that's pretty good. A lot of us think of church as a physical place, a building that we have to go to. But as Christians, we should be taught that the physical structure really has nothing to do with it. The church is the people that are there worshiping for that common cause, for what they believe in, having that moment of spiritual awakening with one another that is real, that you can only experience whenever you seek it for yourself. You can hear people talk about all the crazy things that happen in religious belief systems, and you can say that there's no way that these things happen, or that all of them can be explained away by science. Well, they can all be explained away with science, and even if we're able to prove it with science one day, a lot of these things never happen without that spirituality, without that community, that church structure, the people coming together and focusing their energies together in one direction of common cause. And that's been used for evil things in the past, and I think it's being used for evil things in the present, because when we think of church, we say that group of believers. What do you see right now in society with the people who believe in the mainstream media, the whatever they say, vaccination, gotta wear your mask, and the people who don't believe in that because they've been shown that system has lied over and over again, and these problems have existed and only have gotten worse throughout time under the control of said system. So naturally, some people will become skeptical of that. That's a group of people, that's a group of believers that system over here is not doing the right things. So therefore, they're a church. They're people who believe that there could be a different way of doing these things. So church, first word is church. We're a group of people now. There's approximately about 30 people who watch each one of these videos. Sometimes there's been multiple videos that go more than that, but that's a group of people. I'm not saying that you believe in me, but a lot of the people that I connect with on a daily basis are people who don't, not saying that they don't believe wholeheartedly in the government and the mainstream way of doing things, but they do see flaws. They do see these common patterns of the system betraying the people that it's supposed to serve. So that's the first word, church. Then so we're a group of people who believe in, the next word is liberty. So a formal definition of liberty, I don't know if you can really have a formal definition of liberty, because in true reality, I think liberty is just a theory. It's a thought. It's something that we all strive for, hopefully. But what I could come up with: the quality or state of being free, the power to do as one pleases. Okay, so we're a church, we're a group of people who believe in being free. That's what the Church of Liberty is about. That's why I use the verses that I use and the stories that I use from the Bible, because a lot of these stories have been used in order to control people over the years. They've been been preached upon to, even, with the Puritans, they would preach for hours. They would take one verse and they would sit there and analyze it and preach on it for hours and hours. And, it was very popular, and it always has been for some people. But then there's always other people who disagree, no matter what the issue is. Like, even the most crazy stuff, like abortion, as some people call it, killing babies. We all know that there's circumstances that you kind of feel bad for the woman in the situation, and you have to say, at what point does it become murder? Because at some point, no matter what the situation is, if you wait long enough, that baby does have a heartbeat. That baby has a brain, and it has neurons firing around in its brain just like you do. So at some point it becomes murder, in my opinion. But some people believe that that's still their choice, and that we are not fully conscious until we enter the material world. But as y'all may have picked up on by now, I'm not a real big fan of the material world. I like nice things, and I want my family to have nice things, but I strive to try to show them that the real happiness, the real fulfillment of this life comes from each other. It comes from that shared connection in reality, that shared pathway through life together, creating those laughter moments, creating those sad moments together, creating memories that on that last day, on that last moment, on that last second of your life, you reflect on. Because you're not going to reflect on a Ferrari that you worked really hard to get. I'm not going to reflect on if I become famously wealthy with riches and rubies. I'm not going to reflect on the fact that I was able to, buy the truck that I've always wanted. It's hard for me to even think of material things that would be that big of a deal. But I will reflect on those memories that I've created with the people that I loved, even the people that I didn't have that love connection with, but have a strong connection in life with. Friends, co-workers. You build great moments with people around you, and animals. We as humans have evolved with some of these creatures for so long, regardless of your faith, regardless if you think that we didn't evolve from monkeys, because I still question. I don't have the answer to that. Science can say that they have the answer to that, but all these numbers and stuff that we come up with, all these theories, this was all created by man. So if we're a Church of Liberty, we're a quality or state of being free, and it's for everyone, because that's what liberty is. It's freedom for everyone. How can we say that this is the way that things have to be? How can me as a Christian judge another Christian because they believe that sex before marriage is wrong? I can't, because as I say, I'm not using scripture today, but I do follow Christ, and he said, we are all children of God. We need to create a temple for all people, all nations. We are nature. We're a part of this world, and if we continue to fight over senseless things, whenever in reality, if we focus on the simple fact of being a human and being kind to one another, even in moments of transgressions when you find yourself so angry, so furious at another person, sometimes you need to reflect on what brought you to that state. Was it completely that person that made you so angry in that moment? Or was it something inside you and it manifested in that moment and that person took the brunt of that? We all struggle with our emotions, but lashing out at one another, that's not the answer. Standing up with one another, standing up for what you believe in a peaceful way, and just letting people know that we can do things in disagreement. We can make progress in disagreement. It doesn't have to be controlled in one direction or the other direction. We can work together still. And like I say, I don't think it's all unicorn farts and rainbows. I don't pretend to be the guy that thinks that we can get out of this without people getting hurt. People are getting hurt by the thousands, by the millions every day. And nobody's preaching these messages as influencers. Nobody's that I hear in the prepper world wants to stand up and stand beside the guy who they disagree with. Yeah, they may have voted for Biden. They may have they may believe that you need to wear a mask in order to come into public. They may even believe that you need to get a shot in your arm in order to participate in society. Well, that's all fine and dandy, because we don't have to participate in their segment of society. It never has worked out for anyone who has been the person who says that it has to be this way. It never works out for those people. It always works out for the people who's willing to work together and become something new. And maybe that's what we have to do at this point in history. Maybe we have to become something new. Maybe we have to start trying things in different ways than ways that they've been tried in the past, over and over and over again. So that's what, I hope that made sense. I hope that I gave you a sense of understanding of what I want these videos to be about. I don't want these videos to be a lecture, or I don't want these videos to be me preaching what I believe in, because that's good. But you gotta, in my honest belief, you gotta find that for yourself. And some people find that in congregation. Some people find that being by themselves in the woods. And some people can't find that. They don't have it in them to want to find that. And that's okay. But we all have to realize that we all are here. We all are nature. We're all one big happy family, whether we want to get along with one another or not. And if we start working together, a lot of the stuff that we fight one another with, you know, our politic issues, our religious issues, all those go away whenever everyone truly can feel like they have a purpose in life. You know, whenever organizations get out of the way of the common man participating with the other common men or men and women around them, and not putting some sort of new tax, new law on top of another tax and law. Have you looked at how many laws and taxes there already are? And we discussed whether or not we need to pass new laws and taxes still. If we don't have it on the books already and it can't be enforced, what makes you think coming up with new stuff to tax and regulate is going to do for the future? These things, these old ways of doing things, they were okay, I guess, for whenever we didn't have the means to instantly communicate with everyone around the world whenever we wanted to, and to be able to see the true boots on the ground footage of what we're dealing with at all times. This allows us to start standing up together as common people who want just the simple joys of life: love, happiness, It's time to do these things. You can't continue to try to pick fights with people, because fighting gets us nowhere. It gets small segments of people who have always benefited from fighting things. It increases their leverage in life, but it does nothing for the men and women who give their lives for these causes. I may say controversial things, and I may ramble a little bit from here to there, but as I've said before, I say all these things for the greater good of humanity, the love for humanity, because I believe that love is the message. And I believe when we start standing up for these simple things simple things like love, we can really change the world for the better. And we can change it for the better of our grandchildren, for the generations that haven't even started to become a part of this world. Because who are we to take that from them? How can you feel right not standing up for the liberty of the people that come after you? I'll leave that with you. I'll leave you with that thought. And I think it's a very important thought. As I like to say, marinate on that. Hopefully I might see y'all sometime during this week. I'm going to try to get a weekly homestead video put up, give a little update. But if not, we'll catch y'all back here next Sunday. Love y'all. Take care.